Eagles. All right. So I watched the entire third week of the season. And there are a couple of important takeaways that I wanted to touch on. And this doesn't happen every week, but this week in particular, there I wanted to kind of look at what transpired as well as talked about where I think we stand and so a couple of other little funny things I saw. So first, one second. So first was before the Eagles game. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time. I don't think I did. But before the Eagles Rams game, there were like 5 NFL commercials about the tush push. And I mean, really like funny ones, creative ones, but official NFL tush push commercials. So they understand that it's the talk of the town. They understand how dominant a play it is. And then in one of the commercials, there was like an inside Eagle guy who they like stripped the mustache off and stripped something else off of him and was like, "Oh my God, you're the Eagles." And then one lady was like, "You know how we could have stopped it? You guys could have voted to ban it." I love it. This play is so prolific, right? It's more than just the one play, right? It touches on so many aspects of the game. It's how the Eagles are able to play once they're on past the 50-yard line, right? Because they are so good at it, and we're talking about not with the false starts. The false starts are a concern if they continue to be egregious, right? I cannot stand the breakdowns when they're like slow mo using like a bullet time frame capture by capture, and they're like, "Oh look, the guard moved half an inch before it was snapped," but then somebody else did a really good job of saying, "Okay, let's look at it in real time," and then in real time the guard was, I mean, like a millimeter before the center snapped it, right? So it's so hard to judge that. Where couldn't that even really be called offsides, or I'm sorry, false start, versus the ones where they really are going ahead, where Nick right now calls it the early bird versus the tush push. I still love brotherly shove. I think it's very appropriate. It's very Philadelphia centric, and it does speak more to the team and to the city than tush push. I think everybody else's is tush push and ours is brotherly shove, but I get it with people. You know, tush push is catchy. It's easy to say. It's easy to remember. It invokes the act of the play where they're pushing Jalen versus shoving, which is still the same, but I get it. It's catchy. So whatever, tush push. But I thought that was funny. There were actual commercials before the game highlighting it. And if it does get banned next year, you'll be able to look back on the history of the sport, and for the span of the couple of years that we were able to use it, how we dominated the league, how we imposed our will on the team and said, "Listen, you know it's coming. You see how we're lined up. How are you going to stop it?" The same way with any other play. You know your quarterback is going to throw it. You know it's a throw. How do you stop it? And there are times when you can, and there's times when you can't. It's like people made a lot of funny references after the Rams game. Oh, now they have to outlaw blocking field goals because of how many the Eagles blocked. But ban blocking field goals. They're too good at it. And there were a lot of blocked field goals and kicks over the weekend. Seemed like it was like an epidemic, but you know our Eagles came through on that. So that was one funny thing. The other was the grit that our team showed, and how I don't understand how many times you have to see the same thing before you understand that it's a reality, right? How many times do you have to say, "I don't know if Jalen can do it," and then he does it? Well, yeah, he did it in that game, but can he do it in the next game? Oh, he did it in that game. Because what we've seen is with Mahomes, no matter what it looks like, he gets the benefit of the doubt. Now, I've said this in numerous videos. I don't think that Jalen yet is on Mahomes' level. 7 AFC championship games in a row, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 wins. Mahomes stands alone, no matter whether he looks uh, less than impressive now than he has. He has built up that resume where he could take a couple of years off, and unless somebody duplicates that same energy, unless Jalen goes to back-to-back NFC championship games and multiple Super Bowls in a row, I think he still gets to hold on to that and still gets to hold on to that glory like Tom Brady, where he's had that 10-year period where he wasn't really doing anything, and then he came back and he rattled it off, right? So Mahomes stands alone. But everybody else, people that we're talking about that haven't been to a Super Bowl, people that we're talking about haven't been able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, people that we're talking about that fold under pressure where Jalen does not fold under pressure, people that we're talking about where when they go up against good teams, they don't have as good records. All of this, when you look at all of these other stats besides how pretty the ball is and how spirally it is and how, fascinating the player is and all how he has 5,000 yards and all of that. When you look at a player like Jordan that Jalen has been talking to, in the offseason after the win and everything, and how he reflects on how Jordan won. Jordan wasn't the best three-point shooter. Jordan wasn't maybe the best passer, the best crossover, the best, rebounder, or all of those best stats. But you know what he was? An accumulation of all of those things. Jordan didn't win all the time, but he won a lot. There were times where he got put out of the playoffs and lost regular season games. So that isn't a measuring stick in and of itself. You have to get an overall look of the player and what they've done, not just pinpointing, Joe Burrow throws more yards. Lamar is a better passer. Okay? Because we can agree on both of those things. I can say, okay, yeah, Joe has more yards. But guess what? He's missed playoffs 2 years in a row. Probably have missed these. Now, granted, he's hurt, but he's not going to be hurt the whole season. And Hurts was hurt last year. He was out, the last 3 games of the season where we had backups. So none of these excuses are valid unless you miss a whole season. Okay, you miss a whole season, then we don't count that. But if you miss a handful of games where Hurts has missed a handful of games, we're going to call it even. Where they talk about Burrow has terrible defense and we had terrible defense, but we still made it to the playoffs. Even in the epic collapse, we made it to the playoffs. What's the excuse? You need to compare apples to apples. You need to compare everything together and not just cherry picking stats and saying, look, he's better here. Because we can do that with Jalen. We can say, look, his playoff record is better. His Super Bowl appearances and wins are better. His come from behinds are second only to Patrick Mahomes. There's all these different other stats that they ignore, and then they bring in these other stats to say, look, this is how all these quarterbacks are better, but ignore the other ones. So it has to be an overall look, right? So I've said it all the time. Hurts too. Then you have this notion in the league by fans and media that at week 3 you can start crowning champions. Where now that the Chiefs don't look that good, you know what they say? The Patriots were 2-2. A bunch of those times where they rattled off Super Bowl wins. But when the Eagles were 2-2, it was doom and gloom. And the Eagles are 3-0 now, but the offense isn't clicking and this doesn't look right. And they're not going to make the playoffs and they're definitely not going to the Super Bowl. But now you are unfairly saying that the Chiefs are going, or the Ravens, who don't look good right now for their record, they're a shoo-in to get there. And the Bills, the Bills don't have a bad record. It's the Ravens and the Chiefs right now. They're shoo-ins to get there. But the Eagles, who are 3-0, aren't shoo-ins to get to the playoffs? Come on. Right? This stuff is completely unfair. And I've noticed more, especially with Nick, but with a lot of the media, that with the Chiefs not performing up to their standard, they're starting to come back down and they're starting to have a more balanced look at judging the league and judging teams overall because the Chiefs have come down a little bit. So now they're like my example, oh, Brady did it and Patrick can do it, and maybe these other teams, maybe they do have a shot if they clean up these one or two areas. And that's all I've ever said. Hey, if the Eagles get their offense going the way they should be fine. Let Jalen throw. Stop running Saquon up the middle. I know we want to be a run team, a run first team, and I'm fine with that. If it's there. If it's not hurting us. And to keep the defense honest, you got to do it. You got to make the threat a reality. And what we have been doing in these games is not making the passing threat a reality. So they're like, oh, we'll just stop Saquon. Everybody is going to sell their soul and their next life soul to stop Saquon. So now you open it up with passing, and guess what? Now when they have that threat of AJ and Dallas and Smitty and Dotson and Calcaterra and whoever you want to throw it to, now when that threat is a reality, they have to play you different. And guess what? The minute they did that in that Rams game, Barkley started to get more loose, right? He didn't have rattle off huge runs, but he started to get more loose now that the threat was there of other players. And that's how you have to do it. You have to adapt to the actual situation you're in. Whoever you face. Who do we have next? I think it's the Bucks, right? Yeah. The Bucks. Who've been pretty much our kryptonite. If we can get over the hump with the Bucks and beat them handily, not just in a close one, but handily, I will feel so much better about the losses. But even if we lose, it's one loss in the season. I don't expect us to be perfect, but we got them next. The Broncos, this is what I was saying. I wanted to talk about a couple things. The Broncos haven't looked that good, but you have to treat every team respectfully, and you have to come in trying to win every single game. You see what happened last week. Dallas got ate up by the Bears or the Browns? The Bears. And Green Bay lost to the Browns. You cannot overlook opponents. So we got to come into the Broncos game and the Giants game and the Vikings game. We have to come into every single opponent treating them right. Because even though that Broncos win might look like a win and the Giants may look like a win, hey, we don't know what we're going to get with the Vikings. We got the Packers. We don't know what version of them we're going to get. We got the Lions, who look good, but hey, they looked good all last year until they ran up against the Commanders, and the Commanders mollywopped them. And then we mollywopped the Commanders. So you never know. Do not count your chickens before they're hatched. Don't get too high or too low. It's great to feel excited in the moment. Oh my gosh, that block kick in the Rams game is great to have that excitement for that moment and for that win. But don't let that carry you over into every game until the rest of the season too high or too low. Set your expectations accordingly and you won't be as miserable. Well, at least that's how I do it. I don't know how everybody else does it, but that's how I do it. The Cowboys, again, divisional game. You never know how that's going to go. We got the Bears. Caleb may be lighting it up, or he may be back to, being ass water. We got the Chargers. We got the Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders. My opinion, as I've stated before, I think this is going to be a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. Eagles win 38-30 over the Bills. It's a step forward for the Bills. They get over their Patrick Mahomes hump. They get over not getting to the Super Bowl with Josh. And he plays a respectable, amazing game, but he loses. He loses to Jalen. Even if we lose the regular season game, I'm not worried. As long as we make it to the Super Bowl, I'm straight. Because I think we can beat anybody. I think we can beat Lamar, and we have. I think we can beat Josh, and we have. We beat Josh with the 29th, 30th ranked defense in overtime right before the supernatural funk. So with a good defense, and I expect our defense to really be clicking by then. I know there's talks about bringing CJ back. I love CJ but I don't know if they cut him for his attitude. I don't know how his attitude would play with the new rookies, right? I don't know if he would be a mentor to the new rookies like some of our older guys have. We've had that. Where like BG and a couple of the other guys, I can't remember the names, but there were stories about this last year and the year before where we brought in fresh blood, and the older blood that knew that they were on their way out was really coaching them. They were still encouraging. They were like, okay, I see that this is my replacement, but I still want our team to be successful. And when their number is called or when my number is called, I need the team to still be firing on all cylinders. And they coached them up. So I don't know if CJGJ's attitude back on the Eagles would be destructive or helpful. And I really don't want it to be destructive. I'd rather it be helpful. If he was coming back with the right attitude, I would say, hey, another corner in case somebody gets hurt or we need, or these guys need, hey, this is how we scheme. This is how we won last year. You know, that kind of insight is invaluable for rookies. That kind of help and mentoring is invaluable. Building up players and coaching them, but not only coaching them from a coach's standpoint, but from your teammates' standpoint who've been there and done that. Man, that's so crucial. And if he could be that kind of leverage, then bring him. But if he's going to be disruptive and killing the vibe and bringing the locker room down and all of that, then don't. And that's no disrespect to him. That's just I want the Eagles to be successful and go win another Super Bowl so I can get some more Super Bowl gear and go back downtown to the parade and have some more, awesome experiences with the family. That's what I want. I think it's too early to tell how any of these teams, including the Eagles, are going to be. You need to wait till like week 6, week 7 to really see what you got. And Patullo needs to understand that we're not having it, okay? We are not having you take what the same offense from last year that was murdering folks and turn them into pushovers. Use all your weapons. Change up your game plan. See what's working, see what's not. Be more fluid. Don't wait till the second half. If you see it's not working in a long series, switch it up. If you see Saquon, and stop running Saquon up the middle. My God in heaven. I watch all kinds of creative stuff that the Detroit Lions were doing with their running backs and using 2 running backs in the same play. We did that with Gainwell and Saquon and Shipley and all of that. Hey, we need to get on some of that kind of time to get our running game going and get creative and open it up. What do you do? Ooh, we was hot. We were hot that whole game. Well, the whole first half of the game. Let our boys do their thing. And let them develop and get back to the way they were so they can coast through this. I say coast. That's my Philly, the Philly in me. But let them be competitive from start to finish in every game, no matter who we play. And I think that everybody will be happy about that. I'm trying to think if there's something else I'm missing. Let me look real quick. Already went through the schedule. Already talked about CJ. There was something else, but I'm getting old. I need my ginkgo or something so that I won't forget. I will say I'm really enjoying all of these new creators, these new Eagles creators that I'm seeing. Let me try and look real quick. Give a couple of shout outs. I'm sure they don't know me or know who I am, but that's irrelevant. You don't have to know me. There's some people that watch me, and if you want to see some other interesting folks, I say, hey, get other perspectives on the birds and see how you like what other people have to say. There's Mikey 215, Arkansas Eagle. Who else? You know the mainstays. Um, what's the young man's name? Brunson. He's kind of funny. He's a little arrogant, but he's still funny and he's still cool. Listen, this is how the young generation is, right? He loves his birds and he wants his birds to win. And he's tired of the slander too, and we all have our different approaches on it, but that's funny. Broads Media, he's always funny. He's always yelling and screaming at the video. So if you like a higher tempo or a lower tempo of discussion, these are different angles that I like to look at. I'm trying to think. Barry McConker, he's good. He's pretty funny, and all these guys are good too. That they do like editing that I don't do. This is all off the cuff, but they bring you like footage and their own personal insights and some humor too. So I like all of them. There's a couple other guys, but I can't remember. And I watch so much YouTube that my thing is like flooded. I'm trying to see real quick if I can get a list. Don't they have a list of your subscriptions on here? I thought they had like a list of them. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know what I did, but if I remember any more or can think of them, maybe I'll make a short. And yeah, I'll do that. I'll make a short and I'll just list off a bunch of people that I really enjoy watching. And then if you like what they have to say, you can continue watching them as well. But man, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, and I'll catch you guys after the Tampa game. Hopefully, we're smiling and we win that one too. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds.